Time for an update on the rose planting project. In late September, early October, we did a video of my planting these roses on this arbor, and I showed you the prep process at that point. And I always have two rules I follow for everything I plant, and that is right plant, right place, and feed the soil and let the soil feed the plants. And that's why this arbor is here and why these roses are doing so well in the few months that they've been in place. They have full sun and they have great soil. If you recall, I amended this soil with soil cubed, composted soil, and the only other thing I've done with nutrients is one application of a fish emulsion fertilizer, which is a very low dose of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. But the main thing is focusing on the soil health, and that's where that soil cube really made a difference. And these plants are thriving. So these are the climbing roses. This is the New Dawn variety. And what I've done recently is just take some twine to get the primary vine up, going up in the right direction, or the primary cane. But I want to go ahead now and make this more official, because a couple things to know when you're growing climbing roses is the main cane is going to produce roses right at the top unless this is trained at a 45-degree or less angle. However, it's growing in the vertical direction. For it to put on side shoots, which are what actually produces more roses, this needs to be more at an angle, like that. So what I'm going to do today is take off this temporary twine that I had to just get these leaves up off the ground, and then retrain this. And I'm also going to just pick 3 or 4 primary canes, and then I'll cut out the extras, because some of these are growing outwards and I don't need that, and that just uses up energy that's not necessary. And I don't want this to be too crowded, but I want it to be crowded enough. So that's the setup here, and I'm going to do this with all 6 posts, but this is the one that's front and center, so we'll start with this. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take off this twine, and then we'll examine the main canes that I want to redirect going back up this. All right, so I've got the canes now off the twine, and I have several nice, pretty obvious branches or canes, and so I'm not going to be too crowded. I want to go ahead and take maybe 2 or 3 of these off. So that's what I'm looking at first, is making my assessment on what goes. This one right here, although it's the first to bloom and it's really pretty, and that is the nice pale soft pink of the New Dawn rose, I'm going to go ahead and cut this back to the base and put this in the house to enjoy, and that will help with the thinning process. So that goes, and I'm just looking for the weaker, thinner ones and removing those and really focusing on maybe 4. Okay, so that's cleaner right from the start. Here's a little one that's growing outward. Don't want that. So that's nice and clean. So now I know what I've got to train. Okay, so this isn't going to be the cleanest, prettiest process at this point. And what I will do is I'll come back here with those eyelet screws where I can go ahead and put that in there that will be much less noticeable, and then I'll do a small tie to that. So I guess this is an intermediate step, figuring this out as I go, but the main thing is to get these canes trained early on in the process before they get difficult to remanipulate a little bit later. Okay, 1 down, 5 to go. But I've done really everything that I can do at this point. It was focusing on building the soil cubed, right plant, right place. And now it's getting a chance to train these plants before they get too stiff with the stems. And that's where I'm at right now. So we're off to a good start, but it only gets better from here.